Let's pivot over to Travis Decker. This is the man accused of killing these three beautiful little girls, his daughters, back in earlier this year. I believe it was the beginning of June when this case first became public. Their mother was concerned about Travis, and he came to pick up their daughters for a visit that was not supposed to be overnight and ended up not returning to the house with his children. They were later found dead near a campsite and have ever since then the search has been on for Travis Decker. Well, they found human remains last week, and they, through DNA testing, were able to confirm that they were indeed Travis Decker's, and so the case is now closed. As far as determining what exactly happened, I imagine they'll look into that a bit more, but sadly this mother is now left without her children and without any answers because Travis Decker isn't here to talk. The sheriff held a news conference a few days ago. Here's a little bit of what Sheriff Mike Morrison said.
We're coming full circle. We look at about 4 months ago, we were just sitting here breaking the news about this tragic situation of the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And today I stand before you again with news that we have received our DNA results back from the Washington State Patrol's crime lab from the items that were recovered last week. That would be the clothing and also the human remains. We are glad to say that those remains do come back as a positive match for Travis Decker. It's a big day for Chelan County Sheriff's Office, all of our federal partners, that we can finally bring a close to this dark chapter of Chelan County. Certainly pay respects to the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. We wanted to show honor to them, let them know that we never forgot about them. We haven't forgot about their family. To Whitney, we apologize that it's taken this long to get the closeness and the closure that we are looking for in this case, but I hope that you can rest easier at night knowing that Travis is accounted for. He is deceased. Our DNA results confirm that, and this will bring a close to our case.
And then today I was able to catch up with the coroner, Wayne Harris. He's been a coroner for 2 decades, and he, of course, has been handling this case. His office, at least, has. He's the elected coroner there in the county, and I was able to get a little bit of information about where they go from here, how they think Travis Decker died, if they know. So here is my interview with Mr. Harris. All right, so Wayne, a lot of people have obviously been interested in the Travis Decker case, and there was some news last week. Can you just kind of get us up to speed, first of all, on the recovery efforts for finding his remains?
Yes, the Sheriff's Department in continued search for his remains with the assistance of the U.S. Marshals and the FBI were able to locate some clothing and some bones. And then the team, it was a rugged and very difficult area to get to. So the search and rescue team went in there and recovered about a dozen bones, different bones, and had them airlifted down where our office picked them up and took them over to the state anthropologist who looked at the bones and tried to determine, first of all, they did determine they were human bones. And then they tried to determine if there were any injuries, fractures, or anything on the bones that shouldn't be there, and they didn't locate any. One of his feet was taken to the Washington State Patrol crime lab where the Sheriff's Department had them fast track the DNA testing, and they were able to confirm that it was, in fact, Travis Decker.
I don't want to get, too graphic here, too gruesome, but if somebody's body, and you would know being a coroner, if somebody's body is out in the harsh, outside in the environment for 3 months, wouldn't there be more than bones, or is it possible to just disintegrate down to bones?
Well, based on where he was found and where he was allegedly went up to, he's in an area where there are a lot of bears and cougars. Mm. And so we believe that the animal activity probably reduced everything down to the bones.
I see. Okay.
And that's why they were scattered around, and they were located in 5 different locations. The bones that we found, or they found, were in about 5 different locations, several hundred feet apart. And so the majority of the remains have not been found yet or been located. And that's most likely due to animal activity moving them around.
Do you believe that he may have been the victim of an animal attack for his cause of death, or any idea at this point?
Yeah, there's just no way of knowing. There's so many scenarios that could have taken place, so many different causes of death that could have taken place. But without more of his remains, the torso or the cranium, and being able to have a forensic anthropologist examine those, there's just no way of knowing.
Will you walk us through, Mr. Harris, a little bit about is what is involved from your perspective as a coroner in these types of investigations? When you find human remains or you find a body after someone who's been missing, what steps are taken?
So in most states, probably all states, the human remains, whether they be a body or skeletal remains, whether it's the entire skeleton or a fragment of the skeletal remains, is the jurisdiction of the county coroner or the medical examiner, if that's the system that the state uses. Whoever finds the remains, generally a hiker, may contact the law enforcement, and then they will recover the remains, transfer them over to our department, and then we will either, if it's a full body and not a skeletal remains, we're able to do an autopsy. We've got biological material and organs that a pathologist can autopsy. But in a case where it's just a skeletal remains, there's nothing to autopsy. That's where the forensic anthropologist comes in. And they examine all of the skeletal remains and look for any marks or injuries or uh, defects or abnormalities on the skeletal, the bones, and then they can determine if there's any injury that might have been caused by somebody else or from a fall.
And oh, go ahead.
I was going to say the cranium is a good indicator. If somebody fell and they hit their head, their cranium might have fractures in it. Obviously, if someone took their own life with a handgun, there would be an indication of a bullet hole and specific details on that bullet hole that will indicate it was a bullet.
And has Mr. Decker's cranium been found?
It has not.
It has not. Okay.
Yes.
Are you the one then that would actually perform an autopsy if there was enough there to do it, or does that get sent like to a lab?
Yeah, that would go to a forensic pathologist, which I'm not.
I see.
Yeah.
So what got you interested in this type of work?
Well, I was in the funeral business for 25 years. After finishing school at the University of Utah, I went to mortuary school and had a desire to do that for years. And when I graduated mortuary school, and during mortuary school, I worked at several funeral homes, actually one during mortuary school, but prior to that, I served apprenticeships in a couple different funeral homes. So I was licensed and worked in the funeral industry for close to 20 years. And then I was part-time chief deputy coroner for about a weekend a month for a few years. And when the coroner resigned to move to Olympia to live with her husband, live with him as he took a job at the state health department in Olympia, she was a forensic pathologist, so she would come over and do autopsies for us. And I put my name in the application pool, and I was appointed by the Republican committee, and then the county commissioners appointed me, and I've run unopposed ever since.
Okay,
For
so
20 years.
20 years. What a run. Is this one of those positions that in Idaho at least, anyone can run for coroner. You don't really have to have much of a background. I think you do a class or something. Is that how it is in your state too?
Yes, that's how it is. I always tell people you have to be electable. And so when I ran, fortunately, my background in the funeral industry and my background in biology, and and being the deputy coroner, that helped me get elected. But yes, there are standards that each state has where you have to take training and you have to become certified as a medical legal death investigator. And then in addition to that, you have to continue with continuing education credits. So you learn new techniques and learn new things. So yeah, and they're really good about making sure people are up to date on their continuing education.
So will you explain to the viewers what is the difference between a coroner and a medical examiner?
Yes, a lot of it has to do with the state, how the system is set up. And for example, in Washington State, the medical examiner, there are, I think, 6 or 7 counties where there's a medical examiner, and that would be in counties over 250,000 people. And a medical examiner has to be a forensic pathologist. And the medical examiner runs the office or the department. And a lot of times, at least in King County, the medical examiner is overseen by the county health department. And then the medical examiner, the chief medical examiner who runs the office, has several, 4, 5, 6, or seven, however big the department is, forensic pathologists that do the autopsies.
Mm.
And then in our state, there's coroner counties, which are, I believe, 100,000 and less, 150,000 and less in population, where we are elected, and most of the time, none of us are forensic pathologists. Like I say, you just have to be electable and get some training.
Yeah.
Uh, I think we were the last county when our prior pathologist and prior coroner resigned. I believe she was probably the last coroner in the state that was a forensic pathologist. So we were lucky to have it set up that way. But
Now,
there's such a shortage on forensic pathologists now that they're they just don't they're not coroners anymore. They're too busy working for larger medical examiner facilities.
right. Yeah, that a lot of states are seeing that where,
Yeah.
they just can't get it. Were you the one who went and retrieved the bodies of Mr. Decker's daughters?
No, that was my coworker, Earl Crow.
How do you all handle situations like that? They're just so heartbreaking and traumatic.
Well, both of us have been doing it for many years, so I think we learn how to handle it and compartmentalize, and we learn how to not let it affect us. We both have different activities outside of work that we can relieve our stress and try not to take work home with us.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. And when you meet with families, we're sympathetic and empathetic, and we hurt for them, but we just can't carry that home with us.
Right. Although sometimes when you are at home, I imagine you get the phone call in the middle of the night that you need to go collect a body.
Yes, that's one of the downsides of our job is we're on call every other week. So we're in the office all day and then we're on call every other week at night. So we can have some all-nighters.
Right.
Um,
What do you think we'll ever know the exact cause of death for Travis Decker?
I think in short of not finding his torso or his cranium, I don't believe we'll ever know the answer.
Hmm. Okay.
And clearly the sheriff's department is not going to continue searching for the remains. It's just not a good use of resources. But I think that potentially sometime in the future, years down the road, maybe someone might be hiking up there or mountain climbing and find a cranium, and they will call the authorities, and then the authorities will recover that and turn it over to our office. And if we don't know who it is, then we can do DNA on the cranium and get a match and hopefully come up with some more answers.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you chatting with me. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, I think the county, their community's been really paying attention to this story, the tragic death of the girls, and concern for the mother who probably had to worry about Travis still being around. And I think that locating him and doing a positive DNA identification on Travis will allow the community and hopefully the family to heal.